Hello and welcome to Martyn Lucas Investor. My name is Sensei and welcome to the morning forecast show. We're live every single morning. Today's topic is, was I wrong about XRP? Are we going to get a breakout this month? Because right now it does look like the altcoins are outperforming Bitcoin, which is contrary to what I've been saying, but we'll look into that. More importantly, we've got some news on the SEC Ripple case, so we're going to be looking straight into that because that is very important for all XRP holders, all Ripple private investors, all anyone who's investing in the altcoin market, because this has effects throughout the whole market. So that's the main topic. But welcome to the morning forecast show. We go live every single morning to discuss what's going on in the markets, the news, the stories, get ready for the day ahead, and we discuss whether it's going to be a red day in the markets where everything seems to be coming down, or if it's going to be a sideways action moving day where not much happens. Maybe Bitcoin goes sideways, altcoins go up, which seems to be what's happening right now. Or the day we love the most, making money every second, the altcoin season where you can't seem to lose money until it's all over. Well, let's get straight into the show. Thank you everyone for tuning in. First thing I'm going to ask everyone to do is hit that like button. It takes a second, it's free, so I'd really do appreciate if you do that. If you are new to the channel, please do also subscribe. So lots to go through. I'm going to start off with my thoughts and opinions on this cycle, where a quick overview of what I think is going to happen this month, next month, ETFs. Then I'm going to present to you the news of the SEC Ripple news that I have for you. Then we'll go into your questions as well. So stay with us throughout the show. We'll get on to all your questions at the end. So XRP right now is at $3.07. What is good to see, which maybe I wasn't expecting, is XRP is holding $3. It's come back above $3 and now it's holding. So technically, if I take away my bias of thinking that XRP won't perform amazingly in the month of August, if I take away that bias I have in my head and I just look at the charts, which is what I should do as a chart analyst, and that's what I'm going to do, is I look at that chart and I look at, we've come into a downtrend, we've sort of got very close to our target of $2.70. We haven't really hit our secondary target of $2.62. However, one of the first targets was $2.70. We predicted the crash once we broke $3.40 all the way to $3, then $2.70. Yes, we didn't get our final target, but I did come out and say, what's the point of waiting for an extra 5% when the target's there? We've hit the target, then we've broke above $3. We failed to hold $3, but now we are back above $3. So when I'm looking at this chart, exactly how it is today, without the daily candle closing yet, I see quite a lot of strength in the fact that XRP is holding $3. Does that mean I was completely wrong? Well, not really. Does that mean I will be wrong? Not really. My consensus of what my thoughts was for this month is sideways action. And I gave you the range of between $2.62 and $3.40. I think we'll go sideways, and I said there'll be volatile days to the upside, to the downside. Right now we're sort of bang in the middle around $3, or in fact a little bit higher than in the middle, around $3.07. So as I look at this chart, it's looking pretty bullish. It looks like we can possibly head up to those $3.40 levels towards the high end of the range. But my idea of a sideways moving XRP for the month of August going into September is still valid for now. So that is my thoughts. Why am I saying that? Well, I think August, I think we need to have a cool down with the price of XRP. I think Bitcoin needs to go on a run to bring that liquidity in. That would be that would be like what we expect in a bull cycle for the altcoins to go sideways a little bit, let Bitcoin run up to its next targets. And right now we are seeing quite a sizable pump from Bitcoin as we speak, and this is what we're expecting. Bitcoin to have this run up, break through this range. We did actually see a bullish retest of previous all-time highs back at 111,000, so that's quite bullish, and now we're breaking up. So what I am expecting in the month of August is hopefully for Bitcoin to break out, make new all-time highs, head to its next targets of maybe 130,000, and even more bullish would be if Bitcoin heads to its targets of 145 to 150,000, which I think we'll get one of these targets in play in August, hopefully, if not September. And once Bitcoin heads these new all-time highs, we're expecting Bitcoin dominance to head up. And why I'm saying am I wrong is because it looks like Bitcoin dominance is actually coming down. We did get I did imagine a double bottom on Bitcoin dominance and then heading up to create either a lower high, the same high, or a slightly higher high on Bitcoin dominance. But right now we're failing to break out of the neckline of this double bottom structure. If we get rid of our thoughts over there, you can see it's a double bottom structure with a W-shaped pattern that we've failed to break above, and Bitcoin dominance is actually coming down compared to what my thoughts were with Bitcoin dominance breaking up. Does that mean it's completely invalidated? I was completely wrong? Well, no, we're not. We haven't made a new low. We haven't come all the way back to those lows. So I'm not completely wrong, but I can be wrong, and I've said I can be wrong. So right now we're going to see is Bitcoin dominance going to get bounced up. The reason I'd like Bitcoin dominance to go up, it means a lot of liquidity flows into Bitcoin that then can go to new all-time highs. And once we finally have Bitcoin dominance topping out, then we can go into a full-blown altcoin season. And my prediction for a full-blown altcoin season is potentially Bitcoin dominance breaking down, coming all the way from 60% to 40%, and in the month of October, when we get the XRP ETFs, and towards the end of September, when everyone starts buying the hype of the XRP ETFs, because my thoughts are we'll definitely get those XRP ETFs in October. And there's also altcoin ETFs at that point. Hopefully around then, Bitcoin's already made its highs, 150,000, possibly 200,000. Then that money flows into the altcoin market, and in October, November, Christmas, somewhere around there, I think it'll be about October, November, we get a full-blown altcoin season and the end of this cycle. So that's still my thoughts. It still hasn't broken, but I could be wrong. Right now, it does seem like I'm wrong because I've said Bitcoin will outperform with the altcoins. Right now, altcoins outperforming Bitcoin. And one of the players that's leading the race, I imagine, would be Ethereum. And yes, look at this. Ethereum is up 4%. I know Martyn's been talking to important people behind the scenes, and I believe Martyn has actually bought an Ethereum ETF before this pump. So I'm sure he will give you some great insights. He'll be going live after this show. But Ethereum is now pumping. I'm not the biggest fan of Ethereum, but I do think Ethereum will perform very well. I think it will double, triple this cycle, make new all-time highs, but possibly go into the $10,000 range this cycle. And that's great because if Ethereum pumps, it gives us the indication that the altcoins will pump and XRP will pump. So let me show you the XRP chart once again. If you have just tuned in, we're going to talk about the SEC news right now as well, actually. So please do make sure you hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Then we'll go into your questions shortly. So right now, XRP holding $3. It looks like the next target could possibly be $3.40. I imagine it will get, my thoughts are still, I haven't changed my thoughts, but I could be wrong. My thoughts are still will get rejected at $3.40 and will possibly go sideways for the month of August. But a catalyst that could be great, well, it's in the newsletter today. If you haven't got the newsletter, if you are an investor in the stock market, if you're an investor in the cryptocurrency market, if you want to be kept up to date with the macro, if you are especially an investor in XRP, we cover all the XRP Ripple news within the newsletter, within the live shows. You get this every single day into your inbox. You get the one big thing. What's the main story of today? What's the money move? What is the market snapshot? Just so you can quickly see what's going on in the markets. Is there any opportunities? Then you get the main stories. You get 5 things you need to know every day. The SEC Ripple case is on there. The Apple story from last night is on there. The tariff story is on there. The Putin-Trump talking today is on there. And the Trump executive order to open 401ks market to crypto is on there. So you get the 5 things every single day. The most important stories of the day are in that newsletter straight to your inbox. You don't have to go searching around for what news is relevant to you. You don't need to go through all the ads that people show on their newsletters. We have it all public to everyone. And that's actually free for everyone most of the time. The 5 stories is not even part of the premium package. Some days we just turn it off and put it only for the premium members. However, to get one step further, we go into the deeper dives. Normally this is talking about XRP ETFs or investment thesis. This one is about Circle Internet Group. We all know about Circle. and what they do 2 months in from the IPO. I'm giving you a full fundamental analysis on Circle in today's newsletter. Remember, you get 5 of these. Your knowledge will go through the roof if you start reading these newsletters every single day. You'll understand trends that no one else understands. You then get the what's happening in the week on the radar, the economic calendar. For example, today you would have seen that we've just got the UK banking basically FOMC report of the Bank of England, the rate decision. They cut rates to about 4%. You know that we've got the speech going on right now by UK Governor Bailey. What we're going to have coming out is initial jobless claims in the US. That's coming out in about 40 minutes time. So you've got all the important things of every day, what's going on the economic calendar and what that all means. Then you get the chart of the day. Today is focusing on Circle because we did a deep dive on it. So you get the chart, you get where my buy zones, sell zones, all that sort of stuff is in the newsletter every single day. I'm going to give you the link to it. If you're watching later, it's the first link in the description. Here is the link to the newsletter. If you're a real investor, you need to know the news, not the hype, not the fake news you see on X, the real news. There is the link. That gives you a 7-day free trial if you go for the annual plan. There is a monthly plan right now that will be going up in price at some point soon, and there's also a free plan. My recommendation would be I'll show you what you do. You click on that link. I'll come on to the SEC News right now. You click on that link, it gives you a 7-day free trial of the annual plan. You might as well explore the annual plan with a 7-day free trial. It also works out to about 30 cents a day once you pay for it, which is like, just don't have a coffee a week and your knowledge will go through the roof, and you can be a real investor with the real news, not the fake news. And I'm sure you'll make your money back that way. But that's the annual plan. If you don't like it, cancel it. There's also a monthly plan. If you don't want to put that much up front, go for the monthly plan. There's also a free plan as well. So the world's your oyster, a founding member plan as well for the ones that want to really support this journey and get the white glove service. Remember, you get access to all of that. You get access to all the previous deep dives. You get access to me. You can message me anytime, anywhere, and I respond. We have that community where everyone, when price action is going on, people start creating threads. I jump in. I talk about the charts. I talk about my thoughts. All of that for about 30 cents a day. And you get a 7-day free trial. So it's sort of a no-brainer to me, but I'll leave that up to you. So now let me just have someone just said XRP's breaking out. I don't think it is. It is having a good day. Let me go back to the chart, and then we'll come on to the SEC news because that's happening today. We could get a resolution of the case today. So please make sure you've hit the like button if you are live with us. Let me see. Someone said XRP is breaking out. Nothing on the major timeframes. Let's go. Yeah, we have had a significant pump this morning, all the way from $3 to $3.07. Does someone know something? People are speculating on this SEC case now because let me just go into let me go into what the news is on the SEC case, because that is what's moving that pump. Someone might know something, someone might try to be faking people out. Just to be clear, I don't know, but I'll give you the news. I'm not going to pretend I know exactly what's going to happen. That would be unwise. Remember, nothing I say is financial advice. It's my thoughts and opinions only. Please do not buy or sell based on anything I say. That would be a very unwise decision. I do not know your circumstance. I'm not a financial advisor, so please do not buy or sell based on anything I say. So the story of today, the SEC versus Ripple, critical vote and August the 15th deadline approach. So we've got a deadline coming up on the August the 15th, and we've got a closed door meeting today. I think the meeting they're having today, there's evidence to suggest this, is about the Ripple case. They are having a closed door meeting. Let me tell you more about it. The SEC is set to hold a closed door meeting today, August the 7th, to potentially vote on dismissing its appeal in the high profile Ripple case, as attentions turn to the looming August 15th deadline. There is a closed door meeting. I think that, and some people would agree with me, that they're potentially voting to dismiss that appeal. Remember, what's happened is this is the final stage. Ripple have dropped their appeal. They said that they expect the SEC to drop it. I expect the SEC to drop it. When will they drop it? Well, they're probably voting on it today. They're probably going to drop it before the August the 15th deadline, and I'll tell you what that deadline is all about. They could possibly drop it today. That's why people might be speculating right now on XRP's price. Does that mean FOMO in? No, because we've seen a closed door meeting before and not an announcement after. Do I think there'll be an announcement today? Probably not today, but potentially at the beginning of next week, going into that August the 15th deadline. So let me read you more about this. So legal analysts say it's more likely than not that the SEC will withdraw its appeal before that date. Remember, that's the final stage of this whole saga of terrible SEC overreach. The last part of the puzzle to completely end this and make XRP the only coin that's got legal clarity, is not a security, has gone through everything and probably will never go through it again, but gives it lots of strength, is the SEC dropping this cross appeal. That is the final thing, and then we can all breathe and put the last 5 years behind us, and stop the manipulation and the suppression of the XRP price. So legal analysts say it's more likely than not that the SEC will withdraw its appeal before that date. This comes after Ripple dropped its own cross appeal in June and placed the agreed 125 million penalty in escrow. So when Ripple dropped their appeal, they made it clear that they think that the SEC is also going to drop their appeal. So what I think is happening today, right now, I think it's in about a few hours' time, is the SEC commissioners are voting on whether or not to drop that appeal. My guess is they're 100% going to drop it. When are they going to drop it? Before the 15th of August. So despite these steps, the case has remained technically active due to internal procedural requirements. Former SEC Mark Fagel explained that the agency must secure commissioner approval before filing a dismissal, causing the delay. The August the 15th date is not a final resolution, but is a mandated status update deadline within the Second Circuit of Courts of Appeals. Let me explain to you what that means. So it's basically saying this deadline that is written down for Ripple and the SEC is not you have to get it sorted by then, but it's more like a deadline of you have to update the court on what is going on. So Ripple has to update them and the SEC has to update them. They don't want to go in, basically the SEC, as I wrote here, both parties, so at this point, by August the 15th, both parties must submit a joint report on their positions, which could force the SEC to show its hand. I think they would legally have to sort of say what is going on. And it won't be a good look for them to say, well, we're still thinking about it. I think the most likely opinion, along with some of these legal analysts saying I think it's more likely than not the SEC will withdraw its appeal before that date. So before they even come to August the 15th, they'll come and say, we've dropped our appeal, we want to end the case, because it would make no sense for them to drag this on. Ripple coming out, Brad Garlinghouse, Stuart Aldergrady, the legal CTO of Ripple, have already come out and said SEC will drop their appeal, or we expect the SEC to drop their appeal. So I am very confident they will, and most people don't know this, but by August the 15th, I expect they will. So maybe some people are catching on to that news, and that's why we're seeing XRP go up about 3% today. That massive surge at around 10 a.m. UTC about an hour ago, we jumped about 2% in about 15 minutes. So you can see that the volatility is now coming in. So both parties must submit a joint report on their positions, which could force the SEC to show its hand. There is a possibility that they don't drop it. There is a possibility they don't have to. The August the 15th deadline isn't you have to make a decision. It's you have to update the court. But the legal analysts, and from the research I've done, it won't be a good look if they haven't made any updates since the last time they had to do this. So it's looking likely that next week, my opinion, it won't be today, even though the meeting's today. It could be, but in my opinion, I think next week we will get the announcement that the SEC has dropped the appeal, and that's the end of the case. So the 125 million, that's what Ripple have to pay. That's what they've agreed to pay. They tried to bring it down, but they thought it was too difficult. The court didn't like it. The SEC, the Judge Torres said you can't just change the ruling based on nothing. So anyway, they had to go back a step, drop the appeals, and try and end the case. That meant that from 50 million that they were trying to negotiate with the SEC, it's backed up to 125 million. I don't think anyone cares. 75 million to us seems like a lot of money. To Ripple is probably not that much at all. So the 125 million remains frozen in escrow and cannot be transferred to the US Treasury until all appeals are withdrawn. So, they probably want to get the 125 million. And obviously we've got this pro-crypto government, we've got the pro-crypto SEC. No evidence of that really yet, or not too much evidence of that really yet within the SEC because they're dragging this out. However, I think they would obviously want to show to the world and to the government and to Trump that they are working with these companies. So I imagine that they will drop it. And they want to take control of that 125 million. So analysts emphasize that the delay is due to the internal SEC voting rather than disagreement over settlement terms. Yeah, I think it's just the voting that needs to go through. We know there's a couple anti-crypto SEC people still within the SEC, so we will see what the voting does. But I do expect Paul Atkins to put everyone in line and for them to vote today in that meeting that's happening behind closed doors in just a couple hours time. If anything happens, we'll come back and go live. So make sure you have subscribed and hit the notification bell, because if anything happens, we'll be covering it live, whether it's the SEC case, whether it's the ETF, all that sort of stuff. So institutional eyes are watching closely. If SEC drops the case, XRP may finally escape its regulatory shadow, clearing a path towards broader US integration, ETF potential, and renewed institutional traction. I really do think that this case needs to be closed before an ETF gets approved. And with my research, with what I've presented to the channel, with the deep research we've done, with creating that table of the deadlines, I really think that the XRP ETF will be either before or most likely on the week of October the 17th. That week, there's about 5 ETFs that have to go through a decision whether the ETF gets approved, denied. It's not one of those deadlines where where the SEC can just extend the deadline and say, well, we haven't made a decision, we're extending the deadline. This is the 245-day deadline. That is set in stone since the application is filed from these providers. That means that on the 245th day since the application is filed, the SEC has to make a decision whether to approve or deny. Bloomberg analysts give a 95% chance of that happening. I give it the same chance. Martyn's saying about 100% chance from his internal conversations. So I'm literally 100% confident we'll get an XRP ETF this year. When's the most likely time we'll get it? Well, I would say October. And that lines up with this because we want this case to be closed. Otherwise, the SEC might have a reason not to approve. They might cite this as a reason not for those ETFs to get approved. So we really do want this to get done and dusted, so there's no more excuses for institutions not to get involved with XRP, for the SEC not to approve ETF discussions, and all the rest of the things, the rest of the reasons why institutions and the public and all these people that have been putting XRP and Ripple down for the last 5 years, suppressing the price, they no longer have a reason to do that. So October is a massive deadline. The SEC case, there is internal discussions happening today, closed door meeting. It's the Sunshine Act. I can even bring it up on the screen, what's going on. Let me go over to your comments for a second while I bring up the SEC closed door meeting for today. If I go over here, you'll be able to see this is exactly what I'm talking about. And look, I'm very confident this is what it's about, because if you go onto their website, you come back here, you see there's a closed door meeting from the SEC, August the 7th, 2 p.m. Eastern time. And then you click on what it is. It's the Sunshine Act notice. And what's it talking about? Well, the subject matters of this closed door meeting will consist of the following topics: institutional and settlement of injunctive actions. What's that relating to? Well, I think we know. Institutional and settlement of administrative proceedings. I think that fits the boat of the case. Resolution of litigation claims, other matters relating to examination and enforcement proceedings. I think it's very clear to me that they're going to be discussing Ripple case. I think it's quite clear to me that they're going to be voting on what to do with that. And I think it's very clear to me that before the August the 15th, they're going to come out with a decision that's going to change XRP and Ripple's forever. I mean, it will be an end of this terrible, terrible case that they brought against us. And as we speak, we can see XRP is pumping today up around $3.08. Well, now what do I think the price action will be once we get the close of this case? Well, I'm going to get into that. I'm going to tell you exactly my thoughts. Are we going to pump to all-time highs? Well, I don't think so, and I'll tell you why. I'm going to come over to the chart of XRP, and I'm going to give you my opinions on, great, well, the SEC is going to drop the case, but the SEC is going to drop the case, but what does that actually mean for us retail investors? Is it going to make our XRP bags pump? Well, I'll get onto that. What I'm going to do is just go over to your comments, and yes, Martyn, I saw that. Thank you very much for that. My show is starting. I'm going to go over to comments and then come back and answer that main question of what does that actually mean for XRP's price, all of this SEC talk, because that's what's most important. And I think what I'm going to say might disappoint some of you, but I'm going to come back to that in about 5 minutes time. I just want to see what all your questions are, make sure I'm not missing anything. So make sure you please do hit the like button and you have subscribed while you are here. Okay, my show will start on the hour, 30 minutes later than usual. I'm hyper trading and buying crypto. Thank you very much, Martyn, for the update. If you can still set up the show, because I'll probably be ending in 25. Actually, yeah, I'll probably be ending before that starts. I don't know, but it'll be great to send everyone somewhere. Thank you, Martyn. If that was the case, there would have been no use for ETH. Did stablecoins kill ETH? No, then it makes sense. Why would you expect RLUSD to kill XRP? Yeah, no, RLUSD will definitely not kill XRP. I mean, they work together, actually strengthens what XRP is all about. Sensei, give me a sales pitch. He should be rather neutral. I don't know what you mean by that. No, I never give advice. This is just my thoughts and opinions. We go live every day. So there we go. We're going to retest $3.66. Look, I don't think so. I'm going to go into the price section of what this actually means in a second. 100% brother, that's why I won't be shaken out. We'll finally beat the institutions to something. We just need patience. I know what's coming. I'm in no rush. Thank you, guys. I still believe XRP is going to the moon. And while I'm talking about that, let me actually go over to the shop and show you this. Let me go over to here. Look at this. We've got a very important mug here. There's only 10 of these that will ever be made. It's the Senator. XRP is not a security. Remember when Brad Garlinghouse went to Senate? So please go and grab. This is a very limited offer as well. It's the best offer we've ever had on the Martyn Lucas official shop of the channel. It's a 25% off. You get the mug and an XRP embroidered t-shirt. You get both of them at 25% off together. So that's a great offer. Let me put that into the chat for any XRP fans out there. You can go and grab that. There's a smaller size mug or the larger size you can choose, and you can get it with a t-shirt, whatever size as well. You can choose the color as well as the size. So go and grab that. Of course, there's a lot more XRP merch within the shop as well. Remember, we pay for these logos. They're not just fake logos. We actually have to pay a license to bring these to you. You can see both the sizes of the XRP mug. You've also got the XRP hoodie. So if you're an XRP fan, go and grab it, especially those mugs. There's only 10 of them made. I think there's only 5 left at the moment. Let me go back to your comments, and then I'll come on to the XRP price predictions. I'll also tell you what I think it means if the SEC drops the case. How many people do we have on the show? We've got 489 people watching. Thank you to every single one of you who is watching. I really do appreciate it. If you can, smash the like button. We're on 120. What I'm going to do is play the music. We haven't done this for a while. Then I'll read a few more of your comments. Then we'll go straight into the price action of XRP. We've got 470 people watching. That should mean we should have 240 likes. So let's at least get up to 200 likes. Let me put the music on. Stay with me. In a minute's time, what we're going to do is answer a few more of your comments, then go straight into the price action and I'll tell you what I think it means. If this case gets dropped, what it means for the price action. Because obviously, in my opinion, it's going to get dropped either today, probably not today, but either today or next week. So it's going to come up very fast. It's time to prepare now. So let me play the music. We'll be back. So please hit the like button as soon as we hit 240 likes. We will get into it.
The year is 1991. Birds and people are living together in seemingly perfect harmony, until one day a young man catches fire. This is Phoenix.
We're looking at Ondo Finance right now, just testing $1. We are going to get into the price action in a second. Make sure you hit the like button, and then I'll give you my thoughts on what's going to happen once the SEC drop the case. If you've already hit the like button, if you go into the comment section, you can hit the like button once again. Come over here, you see this button here, and spam the like button over there. We have a major event happening in 15 minutes time that's going to affect XRP. I'm going to tell you all about that as well.
Phoenix, you burst in a fire, burn, a thirst and desire. You transform right up in a flash. You spread your wings to rise from the ashes. Phoenix, you burst in a fire, burn, a thirst and desire. You transform right up in a flash. You spread your wings to rise from the ashes.
Thank you everyone for doing that. Let's fade out the music and let's get back into it. Good music, thank you very much. Yes, sometimes we have to play the music. What is the likes on? 168. If you haven't hit the like button, we're trying to get to 240, or now it would be around 220. Let's see if we can do it. Please do hit the like button. That will help a lot. So, okay, silver up 12% since Sunday. Silver, I don't think it's up 12% since Sunday. No, silver up 12% AGQ. Oh, maybe that's a different stock. AGQ. All right. Yeah, that's a leveraged ETF. Okay, I'm sure silver is so 2006. No, silver I'm actually quite interested in at the moment. I think we will definitely get some sort of big move up for silver shortly. Anyway, enough of silver. Back to XRP. So, first I said I'm going to react to a few more of your comments, and then I'm going to get into the price section, and then I'm going to tell you what's very important that's happening in about 17 minutes time, and that's going to affect XRP as well. So a lot to get through. I've also got another story to bring to you about Circle, competitor to RLUSD. I've got another story about the 401k crypto allowance, which is also going to affect XRP. So a lot to get through, so stay with us. Sensor-wise, Virgin Galactic down. Well, we covered the earnings yesterday. It's obviously just a pump and dump at the end of the day. A pump on earnings and a dump after earnings. We'll see. If anyone wants to do a $4.99 super chat, what happens is you get a free, not free. If you buy a piece of merch, you get a free chart request. But if you do a $4.99 super chat, we can do a chart request for you as well. And remember, if you do a super chat, you go live on the show as well, because we put your name up. As you can see, we'll put a top session super chat like that on the screen as well. And of course, right now we've got the top all-time super chat. So if you're the highest super chatter ever, we'll keep you on the screen for every single show to show our appreciation. Sensei, give me a sec. Okay, let me just go through a few more of your comments. But I'm seeing the MAs converging once again. It's either up or down. Yeah. Let me go on to moving averages for XRP. I'm on the 15-minute time frame. That's why I can't see it. Let me go on the daily time frame. Yeah, it's nothing too worrying. I think we'll get volatility. I still think we're going to stay within that range. Let me just answer a few more questions, and I'll tell you exactly what I think is going to happen once that SEC case comes to an end, because I think that news is coming out within the next 7 days. Buy the pump before the news, buy the rumor and sell the news. Yes, that's exactly my thoughts. I always think that the price will go up once it gets announced. You might get a sudden pump up, but then a sell-off. Exactly the same sentiment. I'm going in with a much bigger piece of news, which is the XRP ETF. I think that's going to be announced in October, the middle of October. So I think people are going to start buying it up the middle of September onwards. So that's why I think August isn't going to be the biggest month out there for XRP. If this goes negative, which it will do, we'll be skating down a hill. Good morning. It's a bit early for some people in the US. Time for caffeine to get this mental hamster running on the wheel. Good morning to you. I bought Sunday night up 9% on TQQQ. Congratulations, Songs for Space. Killing it since Sunday. Congratulations. I sold 10k worth of Dogecoin at 30 cents and I bought some Cardano at 50 cents. I'd recommend everyone to buy Doge now. Thank you, FNGY. Thank you for your opinion. Dogecoin is actually looking pretty all right. I do think it's going to go past $1. Do I think it's going to be the best performing token? No, I think XRP is going to be a better performer. I think XLM is going to be a better performer. I think Flare is going to be a better performer. I think Filecoin is going to be a better performer. I think... what else do I think? Songbird's probably going to perform better. XDC is probably going to perform better. Ondo Finance is probably going to perform better. I think Dogecoin will perform well. I mean, 3x, 4x on a coin is absolutely amazing within a year. So still not terrible, but Dogecoin is up there. I like to diversify as well and hold something meme related, and Dogecoin, in my opinion, is probably the best meme coin out there with the history. So I'm not a hater of Doge, but I think other things will outperform. Anybody buying Flare token? I'm backing up. Congratulations to you. Am I buying Flare right now? I don't think I've got any auto buys on Flare at the moment, but I do have a significant part of my portfolio in Flare token. I feel like I'm playing Mega Man. Gotten late. Is it true the SEC to announce it over at 3 p.m? No, I don't think they'll announce it today. There's no solid news on when they'll announce it. My thoughts are they'll announce it next week, before the 15th of the August deadline. That's my thoughts. Before the 15th of the August, we'll get the announcement. Can it be today? Yeah, it can be. Do I think it's likely to be today? No. But there is already XRP ETFs, like 7 of them leveraged. Yeah, there's leveraged ETFs, but that doesn't matter at all because they don't have to hold the XRP. That doesn't have a real impact on the XRP price. It doesn't add to the it doesn't affect the XRP price, these ETFs. What we're looking for is a spot ETF, Songs for Space. So a spot ETF, they have to basically own about 99% of the underlying asset, which would be XRP, which will actually affect the price because people are buying, as you buy it, the ETF, they'll have to buy the underlying asset. It's not the same for leverage ETFs or futures ETFs. ETFs USA, yes, there's no spot ETF in the US. There is in Brazil, there is in Canada, there isn't in the US, and the US is obviously the biggest market. Where's FILE going this run? Maybe $10, $20, something like that, in my opinion. What is it now? $2.50, something like that. So I'm expecting about a 10 to 20x as a conservative estimate if we get a proper altcoin season. Anyway, let me get into the... So, SEC news, in my opinion, will get announced by August the 15th. So next week is probably the most likely time where we will get the XRP, where we'll get the SEC announcing that they've dropped the appeal for the case. That's my thoughts. Could I be wrong? Of course I could be wrong. Have I been wrong? Yes. Can I be wrong again? Of course. So I think next week, in my opinion, is when we'll get, it makes sense to me, it makes sense to legal experts with the research I've done. I think it will be dropped before that 15th of August deadline where they have to present to the court. So that's going to be announced. So everyone is also going to start looking at this 15th of the August deadline now. So I think there's going to be a buy the rumor. So I do think the reason that XRP is back above $3 isn't because I don't think it's just the chart or anything like that. I think it's just because people are starting to get excited for the SEC to drop the appeal. So I think the buy the rumor can happen, and I think we can start moving up to maybe $3.30. I think the SEC news will be announced next week, and what would happen, I don't think it'll pump it to the moon. I really don't. I think we'll get a sell the news. I think we might get a little pump, maybe to $3.40, potentially to all-time highs around $3.60, and then the next day we get a sell-off. Because remember, look, we're not going to get ahead of ourselves. I think long term or medium term, it's going to be super bullish because the case is over. It's the only coin with the regulatory clarity. Institutions can start buying. ETFs can get announced. But on the day and the week following, I don't think it's going to be that crazy, because if I cast your mind back to July of 2023. When we got the most consequential news for XRP, this could have been make or break for XRP. This was the most important day in XRP's history. It was the Judge Torres ruling, law of the land, XRP is not a security. If she ruled that XRP was a security, it would be game over, realistically. We would see XRP probably at 10 cents, 1 cent, 5 cents. I mean, it would basically be game over. But she ruled that XRP within itself is not a security. And that was the most important ruling. And what did we get? Well, we got a massive pump. It wasn't massive, it was 72%. I mean, fairly massive. But from the oversold territories we were at 46 cents, not the largest market cap, not too much money is needed to move it like that. Obviously a substantial amount. But anyway, we got the biggest ruling ever and we went up 76%, possibly 100% at the peak. And what happened after? The biggest thing that could ever happen for XRP, a month in, we were down below the price it was before that news was announced. We were down 52%, and the price within a month of the best news you can ever think of for XRP was down below where it was before before we knew that XRP is not a security. So you can see how price moves. Even if you get the best news, 3 weeks down the line, it might not mean anything to the market anymore. So I think something similar can potentially happen. Whether we get the buy the rumor, because we sort of know the date. Back then we had no idea when that news was going to come out. We knew sort of the time frame within a month or 2 months, 3 months, or within the year. But today we're looking at a 1 week deadline. So we could either get a buy the rumor, a sudden pump on the news, and then probably a crash. So I certainly, and this is, I'm not giving financial advice, I might be wrong, but I certainly would not buy the pump. If there is a pump that the SEC have dropped the case, I wouldn't buy it, because I've seen previously what these pumps mean. The best news ever, a month later you were back below the price before the pump. So I don't think we'll have a massive pump on the news. We might have a small pump. We might have a buy the rumor along the way. I think the highest we'll probably go on this news is $3.40 or $3.66. I think we'll come back in the month of August, and then when the institutions can start buying, and when the news starts settling in and settling, and we start understanding the news, the market starts understanding the news, and it's not based on reaction and FOMO and fear and all that sort of stuff. Once we start getting the big news, the next biggest thing that can happen for XRP, which is an XRP ETF in the month of October, I think we'll start a buy the rumor for those ETFs, which people haven't caught on to this yet, but I know the exact dates, and people will start researching it close to the time, ahead of the curve. I think October, I think it's the 20th, that week in the middle of October, is when I think the XRP ETFs will be approved. So once everyone starts clocking onto that, that'll probably be in the month of September, then the SEC case is done, finished. That's not something that's going to suppress us anymore. So I think the buy the rumor will really start for the XRP ETFs. We'll probably make new all-time highs on that buy the rumor of the XRP ETF. The XRP ETF will be announced. We get a small sell-off. Then the inflows and the fundamentals come through. And then we get an altcoin season where we see XRP going through targets, $4.50, $5, $10, maybe $11, $12. Potentially in the best case scenario, you might see $20, $30. I don't know, but my targets are between $8 and $12. I'll probably take most of my profits before we hit that $8 mark. But this news is big, but it's not something worth FOMOing into, because it's not the biggest news out there. It's something that most people are expecting, and we've seen what the biggest news out there does for the market. I think the ETF hype and the inflows will be the main thing, and the SEC case allows that to happen. So I'll be more bullish medium term and long term, not very bullish about this SEC case and what it means for the price action. Anyway, that's my thoughts. Do with that what you will. It's not financial advice. I might be wrong. I might come on next week and say I was completely wrong. The SEC case has come to an end and we're at a $10 XRP. Even if I'm wrong, it doesn't matter. Why does it not matter? Because the three things I always say: be prepared for the downside. So be prepared for a bear market to start tomorrow and go down 80% on XRP. Not the best case scenario. We'll probably be a bit upset, but be prepared for it. Make sure you can live. Make sure you haven't put your life savings in it. Make sure you're not over leveraged. Be prepared for an 80% drop. Be prepared for the bear market to start tomorrow. Be prepared for sideways action. Be prepared for XRP to go sideways for a year. And also be prepared for XRP to go to $3.40, be prepared for all-time highs on XRP, be prepared for a $10 XRP, be prepared for a $30 XRP, be prepared for a $100 XRP, be prepared for any situation, be prepared for the downside, be prepared for the sideways action, be prepared for the upside. And if you're prepared for all those three scenarios, who gives a damn what happens in the short term? You've already got a plan. You're not going to FOMO. You're not going to FOMO in, panic sell, because those emotions are what makes you lose money within such a great asset. If you've got a long-term plan, whether it's you're prepared for the downside, the sideways action, and the upside, then you're fine. You don't even need to worry about it. However, it's great to start navigating the market and understanding what can potentially happen so you don't get surprised, because we all react on emotion, but if we are slightly prepared for it, if we're prepared for it all and we're following the markets, then hopefully we won't react irrationally to any of this information. Now, in 3 minutes time, we're going to get something that will actually will physically see affect XRP's price. What are we getting? Well, we're getting the initial jobless claim reports again. This is something that's going to put the Fed in a very, very sticky situation. The jobs market is not looking brilliant, and we're going to get some additional data today in 3 minutes time. And that's, I mean, if a recession comes, XRP is crashing. So this affects everything. We covered the SEC Ripple news. If you haven't seen it yet, it's on our newsletter every single day. If you're a real investor within Ripple, XRP, stock market, crypto, you need to get your news. We get our news from our very own newsletter that we spend 4 hours researching every single morning, that we put together with the one big thing, the money move, the stories that you need to know every single day. You don't need to search through the stories. You don't need to get fake news from X. You don't need to look at ads. It's all part of this. And we've got a big story that I want to cover as well. We've got the Apple story, we've got the Trump story, we've got the Putin story, we've got the 401k, which is obviously great news for crypto long term as well, which I want to cover. We've got the Circle deep dive. If anyone's interested in the company Circle, being on the stock market as well. Well, 2 months in, it's time to have another look at it, because that crazy run up was definitely not worth it. And in my opinion, I kept saying a $300 circle is definitely not something I want to be buying. Anyway, it's come down 50% from those levels, so it's worth having a look. Anyway, you get the deep dive every single day with whether it's a company, whether it's about XRP ETFs, whether it's about companies that are buying XRP, all those sort of things. Comes to your inbox every single day. You get the calendar on what's happening day to day. So you can see today we're going to get the initial jobless claims. That's happening in 2 minutes time. That's where I got that information from, and I look at it every day. We already got the UK banking decision, a drop of 25 basis points down to 4%. And you get the chart of the day. You get a chart every single day with my thoughts, my buy sells, my buy or sell zones, support and resistance. That happens every day. If you're watching later, it's the first link in the description. If you're watching live, go check it out. It is the link over here in the live chat. There's a free trial for the 1 year. Go check it out. 7-day free trial. There's a free plan as well. There's a monthly plan as well. Something to suit everyone. It's about 30 cents a day and you get all the information. It's definitely worth it. But what I'm going to do now is go over to Bloomberg, because what we're going to get now is the biggest news, which is, or a big piece of news, which is going to be the jobless claims, which will affect the market. So stay with me. This data's coming in any second now. Let me fast forward this to, so it's live, and let's listen in. Is going to be
the key
the
data point
jobless
of the day
claims,
as we look to
which
see whether we do get confirmation of the unexpected weakness in last week's jobs report. Right now, we do see markets rising, futures higher, although off earlier highs. Notable, the Russell 2000 now up by just about 0.9%. You could see in the bonds.
What we're looking at right now is jobless claims. That's coming out. Last week was major weakness, major concerns about a recession, but we're going to get the data any second now.
Mike, what are we looking at?
226,000, so very close. At this point, it doesn't suggest any kind of massive layoffs are underway. There's been a big question about what's happening in the labor market, and obviously a lot of Fed officials made nervous by the low job creation last week. But so far, we're not seeing the converse of that, companies laying off anyone yet. Continuing claims rise to 1,974,000 from 1,936,000. And last week's initial jobless claims headline number revised up by 1,000 to 219. So very much stable in that area. The other numbers out this morning, non-farm productivity rises 2.4%. That is more than the 2% anticipated, and it is after a 1.8% decline in the first quarter numbers. The 2.4% is a second quarter number, and it comes in after the first decline we had seen in non-farm productivity in some time. The issue here is important because there have been people suggesting, there's an argument being made that the economy can withstand a little bit higher inflation because AI is pushing productivity up. And that may be the case. We don't know exactly why it went up, but it did go up significantly for the second quarter. Unit labor costs restrained 1.6% after rising 6.9% in the first quarter. So overall, a fairly good news portrait of the economy this morning.
Michael McKee, thank you so much. Stay close. We will get back to you. Right now, seeing not a lot of movement in markets. On the margins, yields lower just by a couple basis points, particularly at the long end as people look to continuing claims. Just to give some size and scope, the continuing claims number came in at the highest level going back to November of 2021, a significant bump up with a question of this low churn dynamic. People low hiring, low firing, but if you find yourself out of work, it is taking a lot longer to get back into the workforce. Joining us now is Yelena Shulyetiva of the Conference Board. Yelena, just on that point, how much is this indicating some sort of weakness, the idea that it is so difficult for people, or more difficult?
We're just going to listen into this for another 30 seconds. I'm just going to see what the numbers are. It looks like it's steady, but a little bit worse.
Over the last several months, the insured unemployment rate remained at around 1.3%, and that's where it's been over the last several months. So we have seen a little bit of a pickup from the trough, but the idea is that, there's not been that much upward movement in the unemployment rate, despite the fact that the pace of job creation has slowed. And that's the point that Chair Powell made.
Kay Moore was just talking about the fact that is the labor market frozen or actually deteriorating? What do you think?
I think it's frozen. So a couple of things to
Okay, that's enough of that. Thank you. Let's have a look how the market's reacting. They're probably not taking this news too bad. I think they should be up. Let's have a look at the markets. S&P 500 indecision candle. You can see a bit of volatility. It doesn't really know which way to go. You can see this is called a volatility, an indecision candle, where you've got wicks on the upside, wicks on the downside, and you don't really know where to go. So the market is digesting this at the moment. It looks like it's not good news, it's not bad news. So the markets don't know how to price this in. What's XRP doing at this time? Look, the problem is if the economy and the jobs creations are low and the jobless claims are high, then you've got an issue where you want to start lowering interest rates. However, the other side of the stick is why next week is going to be so important with CPI, is if inflation's high, well, you don't want to be lowering interest rates. You want to be keeping them the same or raising them, which puts the Fed in a dilemma. Do they decrease to save the economy, or do they keep them the same to combat inflation? And I'm just seeing if this is updating the Fed Watch tool that gives us an idea of what's happening next FOMC meeting in September the 17th. And it does look like they are cutting rates in September still. Let's see if this changes over time. But right now, there's a 91% chance that rates will be cut even after this news. I'm not 100% sure if it's digested this news yet on the Fed Watch tool. We'll have to make sure we update it later on today or again in our market forecast show tomorrow. I'm going to be ending the show unless anyone wants to do a $4.99 super chat and have a look at a specific chart. We have run over time, and what I'm going to be doing is having a final look at the markets, going through one more news story for you guys, which I think is important. And then if we do have any super chats, we will have a look at those charts as well. So let me go into the news story about this for a second, and then we might do one on Circle as well. So Trump executive order opens 401k market to crypto, another big piece of news. So President Donald Trump is signing an executive order directing the Department of Labor to ease restrictions that have historically barred alternative assets such as cryptocurrencies, private equity, and real estate from being included in a 401k retirement plan. The directive tasked Labor Secretary Lori Chavez DeRima with collaborating alongside. So the directive tasks Labour Secretary with collaborating alongside the Treasury Department and the SEC to issue new guidance for plan sponsors across the $12.5 trillion retirement sector. Bitcoin responded modestly, trading near 115,000 within the 110 to 116,000 band. The move reverses the Biden-era policies that discourage crypto investments in in retirement accounts and builds on the Trump's 2020 era Labor Department letter that enabled alternative assets in target date funds. You can see that this is a really different government now that's sort of pro crypto compared to what Biden was doing towards the beginning of his presidency. Major asset managers BlackRock, Apollo Global Management, and State Street are positioned to launch private market products quickly pending regulatory clearance. The order also follows the Department of Labor's May decision to rescind a 2022 warning against crypto in retirement plans. Despite potential executive challenges under ERISA, the policy shift may unlock vast institutional flows into crypto, echoing momentum from recent congressional moves supporting digital assets. So this is quite big. This is what could bring a lot of institutional. How do I super chat? Chris King. Well, let me show you. There's a button on your comment section over here, and it says super chat. You can just write in the super chat what you want. Chris King, it's just a button in the comment section over there. So this is quite a big piece of news because, again, we're looking medium term, long term here. Once this all gets approved, I think he's coming out today, Donald Trump, to come sign this executive order. He might say something about crypto, so we'll keep an eye out for that. But why it's brilliant is because in the medium term, long term, if you can start allowing people to access these types of investments in their 401k, well, a lot of institutional players such as BlackRock will be offering these products. Remember, they make a lot of money on these crypto products. It's one of the, I think it's the BlackRock Bitcoin ETF is maybe their 10th or 11th or 14th biggest ETF. However, it is the ETF that they make the most money on. They can afford to charge 1% or 0.5% or 0.7% for these crypto products. So they're going to love selling these products. They're going to love presenting them to their clients. And who cares about a 0.5% charge when you're in crypto, because you're expecting a much larger gains than caring about a 0.5% charge. Anyway,
Adalib123 donated €2 through a super chat. Can you give quick talks about SPLS?
Thank you. Quick thoughts about SBC. My thoughts on SBC is it's a very high risk, high reward company. For the longest time, we've been saying, be careful, lower highs, lower lows. And for years, we've been saying that about it's probably going to go lower, it's probably going to go lower. However, in my opinion, we've reached a level where the risk to reward actually starts making sense. They're either going to go bankrupt or they're going to make it. If they make it, then I see prices much higher than these $4 mark, $3, $4, wherever we're at. I know we're around $4 at the moment. I see it being $100 from these levels. I still see a path to $100. I see it at $10 first, then slowly, gradually going towards that $100 mark within the next few years if they get things sorted and everything goes to plan. If they don't, then I'm about to drop my cup there. If they don't get it sorted, then it can go bankrupt. So I wouldn't put any more than I can afford to lose into something like SBC. But the charts and the fundamentals look like we're at a pretty good base between $2 and $4 and $5. It seems like the risk reward is in my opinion worth it. I have no idea what your situation is, but my thoughts on SBC is, as a risk reward play right now, it looks pretty good. So thank you for the super chat. That's my thoughts. So back to the Trump executive order. These BlackRocks and institutions will now be able to offer this to people, and they'll make a lot of money on it. So they're definitely going to start pushing it to these clients as well. So that will bring a lot of new money into the cryptocurrency market. And remember, we're still a tiny market. What is it, $3-4 trillion, the whole cryptocurrency market? And that's the whole cryptocurrency market. I mean, there's companies valued more than the whole cryptocurrency market. We're talking about Nvidia and Microsoft valued more. Single companies valued more than a whole cryptocurrency market, which is going to revolutionize the world. We know we're early, so we're still early. These products aren't being brought to people. The ETFs are not all around the world. So this adds to that why I'm medium term, long term bullish, and it's stories like this are happening every other day, which is great to see. We do have a story on Circle Internet Group financial analysis. So let me see if I can do this. I haven't done this in a long time. So what was it? Command, comma, recording here. I think this should work. So what I'm going to do is do a video on the Circle Internet Group analysis. See how this does. And then we're going to be going over to Martyn. Pulled out my crystal ball prediction on XRP. It will go up over the next few years. Thank you, XRP Pure Blood. It's great to hear your predictions. Let me just use... I'm just replying to Martyn saying that I'm going to go live until he goes live in 15 minutes. So we're going to go straight over to, I will end when you start in 15 minutes. So what we're going to do is go straight over to Martyn in 15 minutes time. So you can have a continuous show. So what I'm going to do is do a video on Circle Internet Group as well. One of the big cryptocurrency companies that have now entered the stock market. Here we go. Go into the 3-day time frame, show you that, and go like this, and we'll do it as a video. So if you're watching this live, you get to see the video be created live. So I tried to pay for a super chat, but HGNT keep. We'll try next time. Chris King, no worries at all. Chris King, if you buy a piece of merch as well, we can do a chart review. If you like XRP, there's XRP merch as well on the show. If you become a member as well, I will just do one for you as well. So here is the membership link. Where's the membership link? There is the membership link. Okay, what we're going to do is a video on Circle now. Breaking... Oh, I probably did that wrong. Let me try that again. Breaking news on Martyn Lucas Investor. My name is Sensei, and what I'm going to do now is give you a full fundamental and chart analysis on Circle Internet Group, ticker symbol CRCL. Why am I going to give you analysis on this? Well, initially, we were excited about this company coming on the stock market, but very quickly, in my opinion, it got extremely overvalued and I wasn't interested at all. Finally, we're seeing 2 months in from the IPO, it's time to have another look at this company. So I'm going to give you my full fundamental analysis and the chart analysis. So let's get straight into it. Deeper dive. This is taken straight from our newsletter. You get analysis like this every single day in our newsletter. You get the 5 things you need to know, plus the deep dives, the charts, everything. First link in the description. It is the best source of news, in my opinion. If you're investing in the markets, crypto, stocks, you need to have this ETF, this newsletter, not the ETF. We've been talking a lot about XRP ETFs today. That's why I'm getting my words muddled. Anyway, so 2 months in, Circle Internet Group, the financial analysis. So Circle Internet Group operates as the issuer of USDC, the world's second largest stablecoin with a $62 billion market cap and about a 25% market share. The company provides digital currency and blockchain infrastructure, enabling businesses to harness stablecoins for payments, commerce, and financial applications worldwide. Circle generates revenue primarily, and I'm talking 99% basically, through interest income on reserves backing USDC, which are invested in US treasuries and short-term securities. Strategic positioning. Circle has differentiated itself through regulatory compliance, holding money transmitter licenses in 48 US states, including New York's BIT license. And becoming the first MiCA licensed stablecoin issuer in the EU. The company contains strategic partnerships with BlackRock for reserve management and Coinbase for distribution. It is a very interesting company. Obviously, it's part of the cryptocurrency industry. It's on the stock market. So it's one of those stocks I really was interested in. We bought it at the IPO around $30, $50. And as soon as it passed $150, I was no longer interested. So I sold, especially when it went all the way up to $300. I thought it was crazy valuations. Now that we're selling off and we're back at $160, it's actually more appealing to me now than it was when it was previously at $160, because now we can see how high it went. We know where the ceiling is. The ceiling's pretty high at $300 now. It's retraced, it's down 50%, and now it's taking a breather. So that's why I want to look at it. And let's do the fundamental analysis first, and then I'll come on to if I'm buying and what prices and the chart and everything like that. So the recent, and make sure if you are liking this video, please hit the like button. If we get 1,000 likes on this video, I'll donate $100 to our charity partner in Uganda. Let's see if we can make that happen. Share it out and just ask everyone to hit the like button because it's free and you are helping our charity partner, a Ugandan charity that helps provide clean water to families, villages, and also help with education, sending people to universities, schools, pens, books, simple stuff like that as well. So please do hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. So the recent IPO performance. Circle completed its IPO on June the 5th, 2025, about 2 months now since it IPO'd. Initially, pricing shares at $31, but surging to $103 on debut day, a 233% first day gain. The stock reached an all-time high of around $300 on June the 22nd, representing a 364% gain from the IPO price. And remember, the IPO was supposed to be around $25, but they raised it because they thought they could do more. Well, you can see how crazy it went all the way up to $300. However, shares have since retreated significantly, currently trading at $161, down 46% from peak levels. And we actually went a bit lower, down about 50% from the peak. So the IPO raised about 1 billion, giving Circle an initial valuation of 6.5 billion. That has since expanded to approximately 36 billion. Notable investors include ARK Invest Management, which expressed interest of acquiring 150 million of shares. ARK Invest, Kathy worked, really likes this company, and you can see with their purchases. Now we come on to the valuation and the price target. So what I looked at here is about 14 analysts, and I provided this as a dive in because it's good to see what the institutions are thinking as well. So the current analyst coverage, about 14 analysts cover Circle with a mix of mixed hold consensus ratings. The distribution shows 5 to 6 buy ratings, 4 to 5 hold ratings, and about 2 to 4 sell ratings, reflecting divided Wall Street opinion. They don't really know how to price these cryptocurrency companies because it's such a new industry and it's so forward looking because the market's pretty small at the moment. Anyway, so these price targets, average targets, we're looking at between 169 and 164 if you're taking the average. About 4 to 20% upside from these levels is the average target. But let's see what the big names are saying. So the high target is from Seaport Research Partners. That's saying $280, and the higher range is about $300. So that could be our ceiling. Anything above that is probably very much overvalued. $300 is sort of the top where I see it maximum going anytime soon. The low target, where is quite possible that we head these targets, is what JP Morgan is saying. One of the biggest firms out there is giving it about an $80 price target. So massive range on these targets. So there have been recent downgrades. Compass Point downgraded to a sell with a $130 target, citing competitive pressures and margin concerns. Mizuho initiated coverage with underperforming rating and an $85 target, warning of interest rate sensitivity. This is probably the most interest rate sensitive stock in the world, and I'll tell you why in a second. Well, it's very simple, because they make 99% of their earnings through gathering interest on their holdings, because obviously they don't just hold dollars, they hold US treasuries for every stable coin they issue, and then they just take the interest and give it to themselves, or they present it as a yield. But that's 99% of how they make their money. So if interest rate comes down half a basis point, 1 percentage point, it completely changes how much money they make. Not necessarily makes them non-profitable, but just reduces the amount of money they make. Anyway, let's have a look at some of these key financial metrics for Circle. The current price is around $161. That means the market cap is around 35. Is that right? Let me just make sure I've written that right. Yep, I am right. Sorry, just wanted to check that. 35 billion. The revenue is 1.89 billion. The net income in 2024 was about 155 million. This is where it gets a little bit concerning. The price to earnings ratio right now is about 209x. That's quite a significant price to earnings ratio. The forward PE is a bit more sensible, but still slightly concerning at 127x. The PS ratio is about 18 to 23x. The free cash flow is about 50 million. The cash position is about 848 million. And the debt to equity is about 1.98%. So PE ratio is the only thing that really stands out to me as being slightly concerning. But we know how big the stablecoin market is going to grow. So the competitive landscape and risk. So stay with me. I'm going to go into the chart in a second and give you my final thoughts as well. So the competitive landscape and risk. If you're still with us watching this video, please do hit the like button and leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. I will go read through every single comment, and I want to see what you think about this stock as well. If you haven't done so already, please do subscribe. If you're already watching all the way to this point in the video, please do subscribe. It means you do care about our thoughts and opinions. We always bring to you the most real information. We don't hype things up, we just bring you the real information. And as you can see, about 90% of the people that watch these videos don't subscribe. So if you're one of those people, just take a second to hit the subscribe button. there is actually, we're doing a $1,000 XRP giveaway. We're going to give it to you in XRP. You can sell it for cash. It's free for you, free for all. I'll give you all the links to that in the comment section, the description of this video. But a chance to win $1,000 because we're doing it because we want to, and we're coming up to 100,000 subscribers. So, market position. USDC commands about 25% of the 248 billion stablecoin market, trailing Tether's USDC, which holds a 61 to 67% market share. Despite being smaller, USDC has gained ground in 2025, growing 40% versus USDC's 13% growth. So the key competitive advantages: the regulatory and compliance and transparency, the institutional partnerships. Remember, USDT has major concerns. However, USDC has been compliance first throughout its lifetime, and it has these big institutional partnerships. So I think that will continue. I think USDT will come down. Something like USDC will gain share. Things like RLUSD will start gaining share, and USDT will start losing its power over time. It's got a strong position in the DeFi ecosystem, and it benefits from the Genius Act regulatory framework. Remember, we covered that live on the show. We go live every time with any major events, and we covered the Genius Act, the signing, we covered the Senate, we covered the House of Representatives, we covered every part of that Genius Act, and obviously that is very bullish for these stablecoin providers, and we have seen massive forecasts for the growth of the stablecoin market, and that's why Circle is sort of one of the top players out there. But here are some of the risks. Tether dominance. USDT's 160 billion market cap and $13 billion profits in 2024 dwarfs Circle's 156 million. So you can see Tether is a giant out there compared to Circle. We've also got tech giant entry. PayPal, Amazon, Google stablecoins pose future disruption threats. A lot of new stablecoins being issued now as well. Interest rate sensitivity. Fed cuts directly impact profits. Of course they do. That's how they make their money with these interest rates. Distribution costs. Coinbase consumes 50% of USDC reserve income. So regulatory environment. The Genius Act creates a supportive but competitive regulatory environment by enabling traditional banks to issue stablecoins. So here's the summary, and then I'll come on to the chart. The investment summary, the bull case. The regulatory leadership, early mover advantage in compliant stablecoin infrastructure. We are still early. USD has been building from early on, so it's got that early mover advantage, certainly above RLUSD, which only started getting involved about a year ago. And the reason they got involved is because they were minting about 25% of USDC, so they thought, why are we giving all our business to someone else? We might as well do it ourselves. The growth runway, stablecoin market projected to reach 1 trillion by 2030. That's a massive increase. And that was about a third of the, cryptocurrency market, just slightly less than that. Institutional adoption, and I'm talking today, not by 2030. It could be I think that's a conservative estimate of 1 trillion, because in 2030, I think the market cap of crypto can be much higher, 15 trillion, 20 trillion. So I think it'll be higher than that. But that's what's been projected by some analysts, and that's on Forbes. Remember our newsletter, you can always go and click on the link and see exactly where we're taking that information from. Institutional adoption, BlackRock partnerships and expanding banking integration, network effects, USDC's blockchain infrastructure role creates switching costs, political tailwinds, Trump administration support from the dollar-backed stablecoins. And here is the bear case. Extreme valuation. 209 times PE ratio requires flawless execution. Interest rate cuts could slash profits significantly. Competitive pressure, threats from big tech and legacy banks. Margin erosion, disruption of partnerships eat into profits. Execution risks, balancing growth and compliance. Fair value assessment. Analysts see current price as fair to overvalued. Average target ranges are around $170, which implies a modest upside, while downside risk exceeds 50% in bearish scenario. The 12-month outlook, highly volatile ahead. The August 12th earnings call, which we'll be hopefully covering live. If you want us to cover the Circle earnings if you do a super chat of $5, or if you do a super thanks, we will cover the Circle earnings for you guys live on the show. Watch Fed moves, competitive launches, and USDC adoption trends. The consensus for all of these analysts is, what I've come to the conclusion of what these people are saying, is a hold. Circle offers rare exposure to compliant stablecoin infrastructure, but its current price reflects near perfect expectations. For now, it suits aggressive growth investors with high risk tolerance. If you're investing in Circle, you must have a high risk tolerance because it's very, very volatile. It's only recently IPO'd. I think it's going to be very volatile as well. The chart is saying that we might bounce at any of these levels. 0.618 is the first level I might consider buying, but I'm not buying at these levels. If you're already holding it and you've held through all of this, then I would just continue holding at this point because you're already down 50%, but that's not financial advice. It's my thoughts and opinions only. I never give financial advice, so please do not buy or sell based on anything I say. I would be looking to potentially buy $153, but because that's still a bit too overvalued, I'm not looking to. What I'm looking at is the daily time frame over here. If it comes down to these levels, which I think is pretty likely for it to do at some point, it's $135 will be a gap fill, and that is between the 786 and the 618. We might bounce these levels and never see $135 again, but I don't think so. And if we miss out, I don't care. There's lots of other opportunities in the market. But if we come to $135, I'll be interested to buy some Circle. Then I'll buy some more at $115. At these levels, I'll be more confident to buy it as well. So leave me your thoughts down below. What would you do? Are you buying? Are you selling? Are you holding? And if you enjoy this content, then we can do a full chart analysis for you as well. Just let me know in the comment section down below. There'll be 2 videos for you to have a look at up here in the comment section and in the description. There's a link for you to win $1,000. It's free for everyone. All you have to do is follow us on X. Sign up to the newsletter for free, all those sorts of things. You get extra tickets. The more tickets you have, the more likely you are to win, but you can win with just 1 ticket, and it's all free to enter. Very easy to do. First link in the description. 2 videos up here, but until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Bye bye. I forgot to do that, but that's fine. Let me go here. Okay, so what we're going to do now is go over to Martyn. Let me see if he has started his stream.
At Cameron Griffin D2R donated $5 through a super chat. Can we take a look at end-phase chart? I think things have changed since last look around a month ago as we touched $29 briefly.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for the super chat. We're just about to go over to Martyn, but let me squeeze this in now. End phase. Thank you for the chart request. So let me read that again. Can we look at end phase chart? I think things have really changed since you last looked around a month ago. We touched $29 briefly. They haven't changed that much, Cameron, but I'll tell you why I don't think it's changed that much. Yes, sir, I've been in for over 5 years, not buying now. 120, 115. Yeah, I'm not buying now either, Sandra. Have I just purchased a stablecoin company, Rail Financial? I haven't seen that news, Scott. Anyway, let me do this and make sure we have... we've got Martyn live as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to send everyone to Martyn. What I'm going to do is quickly... Martyn is live right now. If you want to go straight over to Martyn, you've got the link. It's up there. If you want to look at the end phase analysis, I'm going to do a quick chart for this. So end phase is currently... end phase is currently at $30. Not much has changed since I last looked at it. Why am I saying that? Yes, it's down further, but we're still within the first buy zone. Remember, I said the first level of support is between $30 and $36. We did have a bounce initially, and then the other thing we said we're looking at is this downwards trend. We want to see this downwards trend break. That unfortunately didn't break, and now we're at towards the lower range of the first buy zone at around $30 and even $29. So we are still in the first buy zone. We are still same thing, we're still not breaking this downwards trend. The moving average is just above us. So if we don't hold this this level, which I've been buying at, I said the next level I'm looking at is around $20. Whether it's $18 or $21, I'll look at it closer to the time. But the first, if you want to be super if we want to look at the first level, it's around $22. Then the next level is about $18. That's the next level end phase can go to. But what I'm going to be tracking is this first buy zone, which I'm buying. And secondly, if what we're going to be doing is continuing this downtrend and this downward sloping resistance. Once we finally break that, then I think we can start looking at $58. But right now, that downtrend is continuing. We are still at a buy zone, so nothing's really changed until we actually break below $29. And if we do, then I'll be looking to target closer to $20, and I'll just buy some more, because eventually I think this will change shift and head back to $58. What I'm going to show you here is Martyn is live right now.
It's been under a rock.
So what we're going to do is send you straight over to Martyn. Thank you everyone for tuning in. This show is going to take you right there. Martyn's going to give you some thoughts on the interest rate cuts. He's going to talk to you about XRP, the SEC case, his buys and who he's been talking to behind the scenes. So what I'm going to do now, Martyn is live, so I'm going to give you the link and you can go straight over there. So here is the link to Martyn. Thank you everyone for tuning in. He is live right now on the same channel. As soon as this ends, it will take you there automatically. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're live every single morning with the Morning Forecast Show. Now straight over to Martyn. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Bye-bye.